increases, right? Our lending is up. And not only our lending is up, but the interest that we pay, interest, is low. Because if the interest is low and the lending is high, then what is being created? Tons and tons and tons and tons of money is being created. That is what a boom means. Money is being created from nothing. There was nothing, and now there is something. So what does this tell you about money? So what does this tell you about money? Well, it tells you that it is fundamentally infinite. If the entire system is built on turning nothing at all, right, this is nothing, yeah, this is nothing, into something, into cash, into pounds, into won, into yen, then what is it backed by? Well, it's not backed by anything. It used to be that it was backed by gold, by silver, by armies, right, or countries. But now, it's not backed by any of these things at all. It's backed up by what? It's backed up by faith. Fundamentally, our entire banking system is based on faith. Faith that we are going to pay back the what? The debt. We have a debt-based banking system. Now, that debt-based banking system used to be propped up by gold. Now, gold was a reserve. That was the reserve currency that held its value. But we don't have a gold-backed system now. Nothing backs it up. So all we have is debt. Now, I mentioned earlier about boom and bust cycles. Remember, a boom is when we are lending lots and lots and our interest is low. Okay? So what is a bust? A bust is when we realise that this is not sustainable in the slightest. That's when we realise that all of this lending that we've done, well, guess what? A good chunk of that lending isn't going to work out. So the market corrects itself. That's what they call a market correction. When the market corrects itself, it basically means that people realise that all of this debt that's being created isn't going to get paid back. So the market adjusts by saying, well, actually, we thought we had, 10,000 real dollar pounds. Well, actually, we're in the market, we have 5,000 dollar pounds. So when you have that correction, what takes place is that people go bust, right? They fail. The debt that people have, the interest on the debt that people have, it goes up. It increases, right? If you have a model where you are, 1% or a 2% increase in your interest payments can ruin your overall profit margin, then what are you? You're screwed, right? You're screwed. And that is why we have these continuous boom bust cycles. Because if we have something that's backed up by faith, which is what we do have, we have a faith-based monetary system right now, then it's inevitable. It is inevitable that people are going to go, well, actually, I think that a load of your bets are going to fail, and they do. Inevitably, they fail. Now, what? So I'll be honest with you, I've jumped ahead a fair bit there. So let's go back. Let's go back to how this started. So let's say that these banks, there's obviously there's more than one bank, right? There's a few of these banks. Let's say that these banks, they've been creating money within the system. Okay, remember that? Fractional reserve. Yeah, pretty much infinite. So they've been infinitely, so these banks have been infinitely creating money in the system. Well, what happens when, let's say, Bob, there we go, there's Bob, and his mates, there's some of Bob's mates, right, they go, well, I don't believe that we're going to get our money. Something's going wrong, right? I want my gold back. That's what it was traditionally. It was gold or silver. Something backed it up. Well, I want that back, right? Because again, what a bank would do is that they would take your gold, your actual thing of value, and they would turn that into a receipt. Yeah? That's what they would do. They would turn that into a receipt that basically says, an IOU. That's what these receipts are. It's an IOU. It's basically a promise. I promise that you are going to get this much gold from this piece of paper. Well, this piece of paper is only backed up by the faith, I'm just going to keep putting this as an F, by the faith that this actually exists. If they don't believe this exists, then this means absolutely nothing at all. And then what happens? The faith that people have goes down. So Bob here, his faith is rock fucking bottom right now. It can't get any lower. So what he does, he goes, well, actually, I want my gold, my thing that actually has some level of inherent value within the system. I want that back, please. And he convinces all his friends to do exactly the same. So what happens? Well, if this bank doesn't have enough gold for what they've promised in their invented cash, well, this bank fails. And that is what we call a bank run. That's what we call a bank run. Now, a run on the bank basically means that the bank runs out of money. So the whole premise of fractional reserve lending, fractional reserve banking, or fractional reserve lending, the whole premise of this is that the amount of time that you are going to need your money back is less than the amount of time that you're going to want more money, that you're going to want to receive lent money. So if this is inversed, if all of a sudden loads and loads and loads of people, right, they want their money back, right, they want their gold back, or they want their silver back, or they want whatever it is, they want that back, right, then this entire system falls apart. The entire thing falls apart. Because it very quickly discovers, because people very quickly discover that the money that they think they have doesn't actually exist. So remember, money is infinite, it is created by a banking system. It doesn't actually exist. Right? It's infinite. I'm going to keep telling you that, it's infinite. Don't believe that money is scarce. It isn't scarce. It is literally infinite. We make it. We create it. And in the modern age, absolutely nothing backs it up. At all. Right? So, if there is a run on the bank, what happens? Well, in the old days, if there was a run on the bank, these are all banks, remember? B, B, B. And this bank, is teetering on the edge. Right, that's a little seesaw, right? This would be, dead, basically. If they're about to get there, this bank is done. Right, this one is absolutely done. What would happen is that they would form alliances. So all of these banks, all of them, they all have a partnership with each other to say that if you, Mr. Bank number 3, if you have a bank run, then banks 2 and 1, well, we will support you. We will support you with that. So that bank number 3 doesn't go under. So if each and every single one of these banks doesn't go under, well, what happens? The system continues. The lie that money is somehow backed by something, that there's not enough of it, continues. Because if one of these goes under, then what happens? These two, well, they're in danger, aren't they? We don't know what's going to happen to these banks. They don't know what's going to happen to these banks. Because if this one goes under, then these two are going to be next. And it would create a cascade of doubt. Right? What is doubt? Doubt is lack of what? It's lack of faith. Right? We have a faith-based economy right now. So if we have no faith in the system itself, then the system fundamentally collapses. Right? It just collapses. And we saw this take place in the 2008-2009 banking crash. And who bailed them out? This big crash, the market basically went, well, there's no faith anymore. This big crash, and who bailed them out? No, it wasn't God. It was the government. Because the government can't let you know the trick. It can't possibly let you know that it's all an illusion. Money is an invention, a human invention. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this has worked throughout history, throughout time. Okay? So, let's go to the PowerPoint.